going for it. No.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's December 2021 and we're going to take a ride over the North Yorkshire Moors, and right now we are at Glaisdale and we're going to ride over Glaisdale Rigg and pick up a little place in Fryup. Believe it or not, yes, Fryup. We're going to Fryup, not for a Fryup but for a break and butty. At the lovely Yorkshire Cycle Hub, which is a great place where you can hire push bikes, get bike repairs, and also the biker community of all bikes, motorcyclists, cyclists, families, etc. all go there for cake, coffee and food, and they're genuinely really nice people. So we're going to head there, firstly going over Glaisdale Rigg, and then we're going to drop down obviously down Bainley Bank through a little place called Street to the Cycle Hub. Okay, so here we go.
Through the gate. Right mate, so here we are. This is Glaisdale again on a lovely December morning. That's with my mate.
Yeah, so the wireless charger on the phone mount is a bit iffy. I think it's the switch. There's a switch on this little phone mount, which I think has got some moisture in there, so it's a bit erratic. So I think I'll take the switch out and just hardwire it in so the wireless charge is on all the time. But a nice little run up here. Like I say, it's quite a straightforward climb, nothing too serious. And this takes us up onto Glaisdale Rigg. So, running a new tyre on the Himalayan, I've got a Mitas EO9 knobbly on the back. The Scout has lasted quite a long time. I think I've got about maybe 5,000-6,000 miles out of the Scout, but we changed the tyre for the winter. Thought, obviously it's a bit damper now, but judging by the look of this new Mitas, I don't think this is going to last very long at all.
Greasy there.
Yeah, so first gear on the stock gearing, so I've got a 15 tooth sprocket on here, and first gear pulls away really easy, as you would expect in first. Obviously if I wind it up, give it the full beans, then the back end does start to drift about a little bit. I think in circumstances like this there's certainly a case for a 14 tooth sprocket, because you just get that little bit more. You're just increasing the RPM at slower speeds, which I think is a good idea for this sort of green laning. And obviously if you came across to anything that was quite steep, you'd have the extra gear. The lower gear would certainly help. But on the stock bike, I think for what we're doing, the 15 tooth and the standard rear size sprocket seems to work well.
That was mint, I enjoyed that. Ah, now that's more like it. That's the one to have. Yeah.
How wide this car is, it's doing my head.
Are you there just in case somebody gets stuck and you can pull them out?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I like it, yeah, yeah. Nice one. Alright, cheers.
Well, that was all very civilised, wasn't it? That's how they stuff to do.
Of course it is. It is, yeah, yeah. Which way do you want to...
What are we doing?
Let's go left, I think. Right, should we go?
So the Himalayan done a little bit of work on the servicing, so I've re-greased the steering headstock. I actually took the 15 weight oil out. I wanted to try some new 10 weight. And my conclusion is the 15 weight is good for road use, but on the harsher terrain I found the 15 was a little bit too harsh. So, and obviously it's colder as well this time of year in the UK, so the viscosity of the oil is going to be heavier. So we put some 10 weight in now, and I must admit it does feel better sitting on the rougher stuff, you know. So while we had the fork oil out, we greased the steering headstock. I'm using some EP2, so extreme pressure 2 red grease in the steering bearings at the moment, which seems to be holding out quite nicely. But up on inspection on the steering head bearings, they're in good condition. And I do think some of the problems from the factory is that they are over torqued. I think that they're tightened down too much. This is the Leal home to Rosedale road, which is nice, usually on a summer's evening actually, when the sun goes down, but today obviously it's not a summer's evening, it's very grey and a bit damp. But we're on a short bit of tarmac down here, and then we're going to turn right and head towards down towards Street.
Get a picture of that. Lovely picture. There we go.
So one thing I like about the Himalayan's motor is its long legs. It just purrs along, and like I've said before, a lot of people like to look at the power and torque values of motorcycles, but what they need to understand with the Himalayan, the long stroke, is that the 32 newton meters of torque, which is standard, is actually only 4,000 RPM or thereabouts. Don't quote me on that, but it's around about that region. So it doesn't take long to get up to your maximum torque, and obviously the torque and the brake horsepower are very similar, so you know, it makes a perfect machine for just literally trundling over land. Now obviously this has had the camshaft, the tech camshaft, and it's got the DNA air filter, so it is running a little bit more torque than standard, so when it does start to rev, obviously then we do get some extra horses and some extra newton meters as well, which you certainly can feel, you know, when you give it the beans. So we're just leaving the Yorkshire Cycle Hub now, and we're heading down through Friar, and we're going to try and pick up some of the Trans-Northern Trail, which is just ahead of us. It's a steep climb, and I'm just going to check it out.
I don't think I'll fucking turn around with that. Three to one.
So just before I tackled this, we were just chatting about changing lanes. So when you're going up on a muddy track, about trying to transverse from one rut to another, and pretty much exactly what I've just done there, and obviously stall the thing and bang straight over. But I don't think realistically I was going to get up here because it's a very steep hill, it's very muddy, so I think we'll save this for a drier day.
It's not going to happen. Nah, I've got no chance of ghosting like that. Right, I'll turn around. I'll come down there.
Looking at you, your tyres are pretty packed up with mud as they are.
So you're not going to get much joy, are you?
I don't think so.
So the next little journey is across to Danby Lomo, and we're going to basically ride on a trail from what's marked on the map from Robin Hood's Butts to White Cross, and then head towards Commondale. I'm wearing the former adventure boots, and I must admit they are very waterproof, dry feet. In fact, it was exactly a year ago when we were doing a similar ride, probably along this road, where my feet were absolutely soaked. So that was a time to appropriately do some investigating work on some waterproof boots. But the formers are really, really proven boots, and like I said, every time I go out with them, I get dry feet, and they've got plenty of good support as well. There's quite a bit of sand and silt on these trails. I've seen the summer they're normally very dusty, so when you're following somebody, you're just this huge dust cloud, and I obviously conscious about air filters and so on. In the winter it's the reverse. It's obviously it's wet, but I'm noticing that the tyre, the TKM on the TKC on the front is getting a bit worn now. It's getting a bit rounded, so it's definitely feeling loose now. So when I certainly get up to speed, don't quite go into a tank slapper, but it feels it doesn't feel as ground as it did. So I think I'm probably getting ready for some new tyres now, but well, on the front anyway.
That was fun.
And now we've got a bit of a road ride through Commondale, and we're going to basically ride through near Kildale and Battersby to pick up Bank Foot, which is the start of Rudland Rigg. But before we do Bank Foot, there is a little climb up which I think is Battersby Bank. Normally we come in the opposite direction, but today we're going to go up and we're going to ride down, which we've never done before. So that's our next stop. So this is a little detour off the road up round Battersby Bank, and it takes us basically down through Battersby Plantation. It's quite a steep descent down. See, we normally do this the other way, and it's it's just a small detour, which is a nice ride.
All right.
So on the descents, all I do on the Himalayan is just leave it in the first, sometimes second, and let the engine brake and do the rest. Turn the ABS off, and usually I just gently feather the front brake. If it's really slippy, if it's like really marbly or gravelly, I'll use the rear brake. But yeah, I just find that just point the bike where you want it to go, and just leave it in gear and engine brake down.
Brake on. All right.
So we're just going to turn off slightly before Ingleby Greenhow to Bankfoot. Bankfoot has some history with the Rosedale iron ore railway, as this is where the railway used to pass through pre-1920s, because just down the road, which we can't ride up legally, is Ingleby Incline, which used to be a rope hauled incline. You can see it on the map if you zoom in, but we're going to climb up quite a steep climb now up Bankfoot to get up onto the top of Ingleby Moor, and this kind of merges with the Cleveland Way, so this is a permissive right of way for off-road vehicles, but you've got to be careful because obviously it's popular for walkers and mountain bikers.
This is Ingleby Greenhow. First gear. Okay.
On the road, Whitby's coming Himalayan.
So just a little bit of evidence here that maybe on these sorts of terrain a 14 tooth sprocket would be perfect, because this is a very steep climb. So I'm on the stock gearing again, like I said earlier, and it is stalling. So I think if you were doing sort of like long climbs, even with a tuned bike, I think a 14 tooth would certainly have its advantages. People have been asking about the 16 tooth with the cam change. I think on this type of terrain you can forget a 16 tooth. Otherwise I think you'll be probably burning your clutch out. So this is the start of Rudland Rigg, the north side of Rudland Rigg. This is a 10-mile road which takes us right over the high points. Spectacular views on a clear day, certainly behind looking north down to Teesside, and Carlton Bank on the right. But like I said, this is, I think, for most adventure bikes, to be fair, you'll be okay. The obviously the bit we've just come up is a little bit steep, you know, so as long as you can get your feet down, and you know, I think you'll be okay on probably most bikes, to be fair. It does get a little bit rocky further down, but like I say, it's pretty much a bit of a rough fire road. So if you are looking for somewhere like on the moors to you know, to go for a legal ride, then head to Rudland Rigg, which basically starts at Gillamore, just near Kirby Moorside, and obviously finishes at Ingleby Greenhow. So this is Blowarth Crossing, and we're going to bisect the old Rosedale Railway. So on the right the trains would have come up the incline, which I believe was a rope hauled incline, up to the top here, and obviously to the left takes us on the Blakey Ridge up to the Lion Inn pub. So I slowed down a bit here because I thought I might have had a bit of a puncture, because the steering was all over the place and the bike wasn't happy at all. It was sort of like front end was like, felt like it was tank slapping, and so I slowed down and I did check the tyre, but if I'm honest I think it's just the treads are wearing out on the TKC tyre now, so I think I'm starting to feel a loss of traction at the front end. But also this is very sandy as well, so yeah, it looks like it's quite a smooth trail, but it's actually quite, in places it's quite deep sand of a couple of inches, and I think it's obviously a little bit of pace, it's kind of throwing the front end a little bit. So this is coming to the end of Rudland Rigg after 10 miles. So I've trimmed the video down so it's not the full route, but I think you get the idea. And we're going to basically carry on onto the tarmac into Gillamore, and then we're going to pick up a little lane into, basically, that starts off from Gillamore through Fadmore, well, close to Fadmore, and basically down through some woods across a ford, and that's basically where we're heading right now.
This looks quite wet. Oh heck, what do you think? Doesn't look too bad.
That looks like it's moving reasonably fast to me. Yeah.
Well, there's a weir, isn't there? That's why.
We're just going for it.
No. It goes too deep.
And that's pretty much where the day ended, on our trail anyway. We took the tarmac road back home. But one of the limitations I'm concerned about with the Himalayan is its lower airbox intake. I think pretty much anything above the rear foot pegs and the water's going to get into the airbox. So I have done the crankcase breather mod on this bike, so if the airbox did take a load of water in, then it wouldn't flood the crankcase straight away. So I am going to look at some kind of snorkel modification, really, which sounds a bit extreme, but basically I think the spark plug's probably the limit for the depth of this bike, but I think the airbox intake is well, it's quite a lot lower than the spark plug. So yeah, so it ended there. It does get quite deeper, the ford, as we go further on. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I say, great ride, great route. Any questions or anything, please put in the comments below.